Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my birthday book haul. So first of all, before we get started, this is a Bookmas video. I am doing Bookmas, which means I am uploading a video every single day up until Christmas in 2021. Obviously I'm only uploading every day in December, and I believe this is one of the first videos you'll be seeing. It's definitely not the first, but it's one of the earlier ones. So I'm going to leave a link to the Bookmas playlist down below so you guys can go and check it out. Follow it if you can. I think you can subscribe to a playlist, I'm not entirely sure. So then you can keep up to date with all of the videos that I'm going to be posting this month. I had a really good birthday in November. I had an amazing time. It was also my partner's birthday and obviously the run up to Christmas, so I was really in the mood to buy some books because that's what I do when I'm happy and celebrating. And I have about 30 books here to show you. So some of them I did buy for myself, some are from the library, but some of them are also from friends and family. I'm waiting on one book to arrive. It was supposed to arrive today, but it didn't, and I couldn't wait any longer to record this video, so there will be another book showing up at some point in another book haul. But these are the ones that I have with me, so I'm going to show them all to you. First of all, we have some books that I got from friends. This first one is Kingdom of the Wicket. This one has been getting a lot of hype recently because the sequel just came out, and I get the impression it was a bit of a disappointing sequel because it was very different to what this one was. So this is about a girl called Amelia and her sister. I believe they're twins and also witches, and one day Amelia's sister dies and I imagine she has to go and get revenge on some sort of like bloodthirsty quest. I don't know, but I've heard very good things about this one, just this one. The sequel has been getting some very mixed reviews, but I think that's because it takes a bit of a turn into kind of like smut and new adult. But I'm looking forward to reading it, and I'm going to recap it for Recaptains. This one was actually requested by a follower of mine. That sounds really weird, doesn't it? So this one I actually received from my partner's parents, so thank you to them. I'm also waiting for another book from them to arrive, but it hasn't yet. I'll be sharing that one soon. This next book is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. So I received this one from my friend Carrie, who has a booktube channel, which I will leave down below. This is a non-fiction book about Chanel Miller, who is the survivor of the Stanford sexual assault case. You may know the name Brock Turner, who was the culprit. He was the abuser, but you may not know Chanel's name. And this book is all about her experience, I think, and turning what she experienced into something more powerful. It sounds very good, and I also have the audiobook of this one, so I'm probably going to listen to that as I'm driving to work and then read this at lunchtime, so I kind of get to experience both formats of the book. That's definitely a 5-star prediction. This next one I received is from my friend Nikki, who does have a booktube channel, but I don't think she uploads anymore. She does have a Twitch though, so I'll leave that linked down below, and that is Bone Gap. So I think my friend Justine, I believe, mentioned this in one of my live streams recently, and I added it to my wish list, but I honestly can't remember why. So she mentioned a very specific thing that this book has in it, and I can't remember what it is, but the tagline says that it's a masterful and seductive tale of love, magic, regret and forgiveness. A beautiful young woman goes missing. The people of Bone Gap are happy to assume she's run away. Only Finn knows the truth about what happened to her, and only P.T. Willis, the beekeeper's fiery daughter, seems prepared to believe him. So I don't know if it's like they're searching for a missing girl together, but I'm very much looking forward to reading it. Speaking of Justine, she actually got me 2 books for my birthday because she is really freaking generous. The first one is one that I've been meaning to buy myself for ages, and I was so close to actually getting it when I went to Waterstones recently in London, which I'll talk about in a second when I show you more books, but I didn't pick it up, and that is The Goblin Emperor. So this one is about a guy who is the half-goblin son of the Goblin Emperor. I feel like I'm saying goblin weirdly. So what I think happens in this one is that he's actually like 4th in line for the throne or something, and then his entire family, his dad and his older brothers, die. So he suddenly becomes the Goblin Emperor, and he has to deal with this whole new situation that he's in. And I don't know if he's like previously grown up in the human world or something. I'm not sure, but I think this might have had a sequel recently, and that's why it's suddenly getting loads of hype. There's another book here that reminds me of it as well, and that has also received a sequel and has been getting a lot of hype. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I don't think I normally read things about like goblins or fae, but this one sounds very good, so I'm looking forward to reading it. This next one is one that I actually can't remember why I added it to my wish list, but Justine got it for me anyway, like regardless, it doesn't matter, and that is Dark and Shallow Lies. So I think this is partly a cover buy because I love this cover, but the tagline is a missing girl, a town full of psychics, and a secret that won't stay buried. 17-year-old Grey returns to a town in Louisiana where she grew up. This time it's different because her best friend has been missing for months. Apparently I really like stories about missing people, missing girls. I don't know. I really enjoy small town drama and small town secrets and revenge stories, so this one sounds perfect. I can't wait to read it, although I don't think I'm going to get to it until next year, probably at this point, but I really want to read it soon. I also, yeah, like I said, I love this cover. You can see there's like an alligator there in this top corner. And then the final book that I got from friends, I think, yep, the final one is from my friend Kayla, who is absolutely lovely and again so generous. She bought me The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which I am so excited to read. So I've heard that Sally Thorne's other books aren't as good because everyone has read this one, loved it, and expected really good things from her next follow-up books, but they're just not as good. But this one is about people who work together. I think they're colleagues and they hate each other, they're rivals, and then they come together and, you know, fall in love, I suppose. I really need a good like rom-com romance around Christmas time, so this is going to be perfect. I'm going to read it next month, I think. And thank you so much, Kayla, for buying it for me. So those are all ones that I got from my friends, and I'm already like 9 minutes into this video, so I need to hurry up. This next book is one that I got from a publisher. I think I won it in a giveaway during the summer, and it's only just arrived because I guess like supply chain issues and, you know, books aren't doing so well at the moment. And that is You'll Be the Death of Me by Carrie McManus. This is obviously an art copy. I've read this book and I've done a full review on it already. Gave it 3 stars. This is Carrie McManus's newest YA thriller book, which is about 3 friends who skip school and come across a dead body. I did enjoy this one, but I only gave it 3 stars. It wasn't anything amazing, but it wasn't bad either. So yeah, read that one. Go and check out my review if you haven't already. These next 2 purchases were for books that I've already read and really enjoyed. So I either read them, actually no, I think I read them both as library copies actually, and then I bought myself a copy because why not? The first one is my Dark Vanessa, which is probably the best book that I've read all year. Spoiler for my best books of 2021 video. This is a very dark adult contemporary about a 14-year-old girl called Vanessa who is groomed by her literature English teacher, and it follows her through the years, through all the, you know, grooming and stuff, and how she comes out of the other side. I love this book, and I made my best friend read it as well, and it traumatized her. We both agreed that it's a good enough book to be studied, and I'm hoping to have done a full review on it already, but it's quite a difficult one to talk about, so that one might be coming in a few weeks instead. But I love this book. If you like literary fiction, if you can handle something really dark, then I would recommend reading this one. And then the other book that I've already read is Scythe, and I'm actually rereading it now, as in I'm starting my reread today, so it's probably going to be in my November wrap-up if all goes well. I love this book, so I gave this one 4 stars. The other books I think I gave 5. It's a very good series set in a dystopian, utopian type future where people no longer die. They have cured, they being humans, have found out how to conquer death. And this means that the earth is becoming overpopulated, and that means that there are scythes, like the Grim Reapers, who have to go around killing people. They get to choose their own style of murder, is what it essentially is. They call it gleaning because they're sort of gleaning the population, but it's a very good trilogy. I love it so much, and I think there's a book of short stories coming out in 2022, so this reread is coming at the perfect time. I'm so excited, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into this trilogy. And then we have a bunch of books that I bought myself because I couldn't, well, obviously I bought the other 2 myself, but these ones are ones that I haven't read yet and I really need to get to, so prepare yourselves because there are a lot. The first one is Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey. This is the second book in the Expanse series. I've only read the first one and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It's a sci-fi space opera series in which humans have conquered the galaxy. They have populated various different planets, including the asteroid belt. I can't really remember much of the plot of the first book. Thankfully, I have done a recap on my Recaptain's website, and I started watching the show, but then I heard that some of the show, the first season of the show, covers some of this book, so I was like, oh, I should probably stop and read the second one, which is actually a lot bigger than the first, so I'm so glad I made that decision. It's still only about 600 pages, which isn't huge for a sci-fi and fantasy reader, but it's still a little bit chunky and will take some time to read because it's sci-fi. But I'm looking forward to getting back into this series, and maybe I might do a marathon of it if I end up really enjoying this one. I've been putting off purchasing the rest of the series just in case I do find the second one difficult to get through, because the first one in a series is often, you know, a fluke, and that's the one that the authors put the most effort into, and it turns out that it's often the best book in a series. And then in the middle, especially of a long series, it can kind of meander a little bit, kind of like this video. So I'm going to buy the future books kind of singularly until I have decided that I'm going to adore the series, and then I'm going to do a whole marathon, I think. Next we have another chunky book, and that is Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. So I told myself after I finished A Song of Ice and Fire years ago that I wasn't going to read another George R.R. Martin book because in my opinion, he keeps getting distracted and doesn't deserve my time if he's not going to finish that series. But that's really mean of me, I'm aware. And I saw that this show is actually in production now, and it's following the Targaryens, who are one of my favourite families in A Song of Ice and Fire to read about. I have been told this book is very, very good, and I don't think it's the first in a series or anything. It's a prequel to A Song of Ice and Fire, so it's set, I think, 300 years before the events in the main series. And I figured I might as well give it a go, and I'm going to do a review, maybe a vlog. I don't really know how intense a vlog could be with this book, but I do want to read and review it before the show comes out, and then maybe do a comparison video. Everyone else will probably do one too, so I might as well join in. The next one is Son of the Storm. This is an adult fantasy book, I think. Yes, it's the first in a series called The Nameless Republic, and S.A. Chakraborty blabbed it, which is part of the reason why I was so excited to read it. I love that my camera is focusing on their face. So I don't really know what this is about. It says here that it's set in the city of Bassa. Danso is a clever scholar on the cusp of achieving greatness. Only he doesn't want it. He prefers to chase forbidden stories about what lies outside the city walls. He stumbles across a warrior wielding magic that shouldn't exist, and he's put on a collision course with Bassa's darkest secrets. So I guess like magic is outlawed in this city or something, and then secret things start coming through the walls, over the walls, probably not through. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to reading it. This one has received a little bit of hype in the summer this year when it came out around the same time as The Unbroken and the Jasmine Throne. But then I think the hype kind of died down, but I wanted to buy this partly because of the cover and partly because S.A. Chakraborty loved it, so I'm probably going to love it too. Next we have something very different, and that is A Stolen Life by J.C. Dugard. So this is a true story. It's a memoir, and it's about the time that she was kidnapped as a child and forced to become a wife and a mother. She was imprisoned by this man, and basically I bought this because I'm going to be doing a true crime video on the case. I think since escaping, JC has been very open about what happened to her, and she started her own charity foundation, I believe. I'm going to have to look into it more, but I think the charity focuses on rescuing or supporting abuse victims. This is going to be a dark read, but I think I can handle it, and I'm going to be doing a video on it in January or February. Next we have 1,000 Ships, which I have been meaning to buy for the longest time. So this is about a woman who lives in Troy, which is obviously being invaded by the Greeks. I think this is actually about 3 different women who are part of this same conflict, and it's all about how they handled it and how they fought, well, how one of them fought Achilles. I'm really into mythology at the moment, particularly Greek and Roman mythology, not so much like Norse and others. I'm sure I'll get there eventually. I've always loved ancient Greece and ancient Rome, so I'm very much looking forward to reading this one when I'm in the mood for it. I've got this, I've got Silence of the Girls, and I've got The Wolf Den to read currently, and that's just my immediate TBR, so I'm looking forward to reading this very, very soon. Next, I bought a book due to peer pressure. Everyone has been saying that they love this book, and that is The Sword of Kaigen. So this, I have been told, is a standalone, and it's kind of like a spin-off to a previous trilogy that the author isn't intending to finish. So I don't know how I feel about that. That's like got a whole George R.R. Martin vibe going on. But at least she's open about not wanting to finish it, I suppose. But I've heard that this book is absolutely fantastic. So it's epic fantasy. I don't really know much about it, I'm gonna be honest, but I know that it includes one of my all-time favorite tropes or moments or scenes. My friend Lena, who loves this book, and she's the reason why I bought it, tweeted out a quote that's kind of like a sort of holding the line, banding together sort of quote. I don't really know how to explain all of that, but it just sent chills down my body, and I was like, this is it. I'm buying it for myself for my birthday because it's quite expensive. It's self-published, so the paperback is expensive, although it is available on Kindle Unlimited. Anyway, so yeah, it sent shivers down my spine, and I had to buy it, and I'm hoping to read this early on in January. It's quite a long book though, so I'm not going to hold myself to that, but I definitely want to read it soon. We're still going. So next we have Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. This one, I don't really know what it's about exactly. I think it might be urban fantasy. So it says here, while most of the world has drowned beneath the sudden rising waters of a climate apocalypse, Cli-fi, love it, Denata has been reborn. Here the gods and heroes of legend walk the land, but so do monsters. So I know that the author is Native American, so maybe this is tackling Native American mythology, which is fantastic. I know I said I wasn't into other mythologies at the moment, but this isn't really something that I have read much about, so I'm very excited for that. I don't know how I feel about this cover exactly. It's not as good as the US cover, but I think this is a trilogy or a series. The second book is out, but I don't know if it's going to continue. I read Black Sun by this author and very much enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to reading this one soon. The next one is one that I was talking about a little bit earlier when I said that I have another book that reminds me of the Goblin Emperor, and that is The Golem and the Ginny. I don't know why it reminds me of the Goblin Emperor. I think it's because they both had sequels coming out around the same time, and I think I heard about them both at the same time as well. So this one is chunky, it's huge. I wasn't expecting it to be so big when I ordered it. So this is 650 pages, which is enormous. So it says here that it's set in New York in 1899. Shava is a golem brought to life by a Jewish rabbi, and Ahmad is a Ginny, a being of fire trapped for centuries and brought back to life by someone else. So I love books about Jinn, which is the main reason why I picked this one up. Desert fantasy is my favorite. I don't think this is desert fantasy, I think this is set in New York City, but that doesn't matter. It still includes Jinn, who are some of my favorite mythological creatures. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. Probably won't be for a while because it is a chonker. And then we also have Blood Heir. This one had some controversy surrounding it before it was published, and then I believe the author made some edits before it came out. That's the main reason why I wanted to check this one out, because I wanted to see what exactly the author did with the criticism that she received. So this one I think is an Anastasia retelling based on also Chinese history, because I think the author is Chinese. Don't really know much about it, but the main character may be a murderous princess, which sounds great. And then I got 2 books from the charity shop. No, I think I got 3. Where's the other one? I got 3 books from the charity shop. The first one is one that I've already read, and that is The Princess Diaries by Carrie Fisher. So this is obviously the actress who, you all know who Carrie Fisher is. She played Leia in Star Wars, and this is her one of her memoirs. This basically covers the period where she auditioned for Star Wars, the first one, and had an affair with Harrison Ford. And I think this book is the first time that she actually spoke about that affair, because Harrison Ford was married at the time. I liked this one. I'm giving it 3 stars. It was amusing in some places. In other places, I thought that it could have been better worded. I think it wasn't the best written book, which I suppose makes sense, but I know that Carrie Fisher also published other books and at least one other memoir, so I was expecting this to be a little bit more polished, I think, but it wasn't. But I'll talk about this probably in my, well, I will talk about it in my November wrap up, which probably went up a few days ago. If you want to know more of my thoughts and feelings, then check out that video. Next we have The Swallows. I think this is a thriller book set in a boarding school, which is a setting that I love. I always love books set in boarding schools because they always focus on some rich people drama, which I love. Rich people killing each other is just amusing to me. So yeah, it says here that the main character is a teacher at Stonebridge Academy. She gives her students a writing prompt, and their answers raise disturbing questions of their own. Some of the girls there start to question the school's boys will be boys attitude and incites a resistance that quickly becomes a movement. So this is also feminist. I don't actually know if there's a thriller aspect to it or not, but I'm very excited to read it. It's another chunky one though. I wasn't expecting this to be so big. Then we have Unnatural Causes. This is a non-fiction book written by Britain's top forensic pathologist. It says on the back that Dr. Shepherd has performed over 23,000 autopsies. He has tackled serial killers, natural disasters, perfect murders, and freak accidents. His evidence has put killers behind bars, freed the innocent, and turned open and shut cases on their heads. All of this has come at a personal cost. I find this topic very, very interesting, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. I hope that it's well written, because sometimes these kinds of books are kind of just churned out by the publishers, especially because that one, I can't remember the name of it, about the NHS doctor, became very popular. That started a huge trend, but I'm glad people get to talk about their careers and their passions, and I'm looking forward to reading this book. There's another 2 here that I bought for myself, and then we're on to library books and books that were sent to me. So this one is Tsarina. I bought this one along with The Power of Geography, because Waterstones again put these 2 together and they looked so good on the table at the front of Waterstones that I decided that I should buy them. They always do this on the half-priced books table. I don't know if you've noticed, but I did this the other month with The Wolf Den and The Night Watchman. They're both orange and looked really good together, and now I've got 2 red books because they looked fantastic too. So they definitely do this on purpose, and their marketing people are really good. So Tsarina is about Catherine I of Russia, who is a historical figure that I know absolutely nothing about. It should be fun to read. I hope it's a good book. It's received very good reviews at least, so I'm looking forward to it. And then next we have The Power of Geography, which is by the author of Prisoners of Geography, which I don't own yet, but I will buy. I don't know how much, it says here that it's a sequel, but I don't know how much that is true and if you can sort of read this on its own. But I'm a huge fan of geography, world history, and kind of theories about where the world could be going in the future. So that's why I picked this one up. And again, I will be picking up The Prisoners of Geography first. I think if I have to read that first, let me know if you've read this. I don't actually know if I need to read them in order. Next, I have 2 books that were sent to me by my friend Asha because she was getting rid of them. The first one is Girl, Serpent, Thorne. I think this one came out in, 2020. I don't know loads about this one, but I know that it's a Persian-inspired fantasy book, which I'm very interested in reading, so I asked for this one. And then she also sent me The Jasmine Throne, which came out in June of 2021. I've been meaning to pick it up, and she was getting rid of this art copy, so I asked for it because it's free. I know that this one is LGBTQ+. The main characters are both women. I think one's a princess and one is her servant, and they have to probably overthrow someone or something and get free. I don't really know, but I'm looking forward to reading it. I haven't read this author's other stuff yet, but I am very much looking forward to checking her out, and I'm probably going to read her other series first and then get to this one. S.A. Chakraborty also loved it, so I'm gonna love it too. And then last but certainly not least, we have 3 library books. I think I might have hauled one already actually, so I'm going to show you that one first just really quickly, and that is Black Spartacus. This is about the Haitian Revolution, I believe, and it's non-fiction. It's very, very dense though, so I might have to get the audiobook because the font in this is just teeny tiny and I probably can't read it. But yeah, this is a non-fiction book that I will be reading very soon. Another non-fiction book I want to read very soon is Turning the Tide on Plastic. So like I keep saying, climate fiction, sci-fi and environmentalism are things that I'm very passionate about, and I want to do more reading on the topics. So I read a book in November which I will have spoken about in my November wrap up, and this is another non-fiction book that I wanted to pick up when I saw it in the library. So this is basically How Humanity and You Can Make Our Globe Clean Again. I don't know if this is going to be kind of a preachy book because I know that most of the waste is industrial waste rather than individual, but I do want to do everything that I can to reduce waste on the planet, especially plastic, because it's not good. So I figured I would give this book a try. And then last, finally, I've got books everywhere, this is ridiculous, is a thriller book that I just picked up on a whim from the library, and that is Into the Woods. I love that the tagline is, if you go into the woods, you're in for a dark surprise. It says here that 30 years ago, 3 girls followed a stranger into the woods, only 2 returned. The surviving pair have never been able to remember what happened to them that fateful day. Rowan Blake, which is like the most standard like white guy name I've ever heard, vows to discover what happened and write the story of the century. He's retreated to the Lake District in search of some hope, but even Rowan isn't prepared for the evil he is about to unearth, the secrets that have been buried in that wood for far too long. So I don't know if this is set in the Lake District, but if it is, that's really cool. So I recently went there on holiday and it's a lovely place to go, and I'm actually in the works of thinking up a book, a mystery book set in the Lake District. So if this author has just stolen my idea, I'm going to be very offended. But yeah, this is one that I saw on the shelf and just wanted to pick up because I don't know, I like the colour. So those are all of the books that I received or bought or acquired for my birthday or around my birthday. I'm so grateful to all of my friends and family who sent books to me. Can't wait for Christmas now. Like I said at the beginning, I will leave a link to all of my Bookmas videos down below so you can go and check the rest of them out. I will be back tomorrow with another video. Thank you all so much for watching. I will speak to you all again soon. Bye.